And we've arrived. And yup, that's how it's supposed to be. Let it drop down nicely to 30 to 35 meters depth, and bang, they bite. Yeah, and I'm talking about the fish that really bring in some proper cash up here in the Northern Sea. The Pollack, those are definitely worth it. And the nice thing is, at certain spots, you can catch them pretty regularly, one after another. Medium-sized fish. I mean, everyone knows regular coalfish, and the Pollack is basically the light version of it. That's the one we want, because the regular coalfish doesn't pay nearly as well. But the Pollack, that one's really worth it. And the Pollack regularly bites on yellowish and orange lures. I've actually been testing that here for almost an hour now. Ah, look. Now I've found a spot where the coalfish suddenly start hammering in. I still need to get settled first. You've got to reach the right depth, around 30 meters. Sometimes they bite already around 20, but usually closer to 30. And I think if you look down there at the minimap, you can already see the spot pretty clearly. So we're right here at 41, and just a little to the right of the 41 mark. If you're exactly on 41, it's not quite as good. And if you drift too far off, then it also starts to fall off again. But somewhere in that range, yeah, that still works out pretty well. So just right next to the 41 in that area, and then just try drifting back and forth a bit, and then you're good to go for Pollack. That's how it's looking right now. I mean, you're already seeing a whole bunch of Pollack coming in again and again. But then sometimes, all of a sudden, boom, 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 mackerels come in one after another. Or sardines, also not bad. Gladly take those as well. But then again, you'll see Pollack, 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 Pollack. So, really nice amounts of Pollack. And also in terms of silver, we'll take a look at that in a second. Overall, it's definitely not bad at all. Now I actually need to take a quick look to see if I'm going to move back a bit again. Yeah, I think I'll drive back a little. I'm drifting a bit too far here. So we'll check it out on the map in a second. I'm just pulling one in here. I also just tried it again with other lures, much larger ones, on a heavier setup because I thought, hey, maybe we'll hook into a trophy size one. That wouldn't be bad either, but when you go in too big, you tend to catch the regular coalfish instead. So I'm fishing with shrimps here. You can probably see it right up front, shrimp, and at the moment I'm using orange shrimp. Okay, now backing up a bit, a little more, a little more, a little more. There, that should fit, perfect. And right away cast out again. Let's take another look at the map. So this is what it looks like right now. Just beside the 41, somewhere in that general area, right? The circle's a little too far south right now, but roughly here. That works. Oops, yeah, that's pretty solid. And that's where we're always casting out. So that means as soon as I've pulled this one up, I'll cast out a little farther again because I want to land right about where the rod tip is now. So first, a little cast out. Oh, that was a bit too far. There, and now drop it down. Boom. And now I'm hoping for Pollack in that area. Let's take a quick look at the setup too. Boom. Oh, there was a little stutter again. Luckily, that's still shown on some rods. And back out again. So this is what it looks like right now. And the bites are coming entirely on shrimp, so natural bait. I'm seeing here, I've even got, and that probably explains why the mackerels are coming in so nicely too. Oops, another bite. I need to change the bait again real quick. I still had that one on from the last trip, and I thought, oh well, convenient. Let's check it real quick. That one actually went for the 7.5. No wait, that was on the 13. And that one again on the 7.5. So, if you're targeting mackerel, use the 7.5 here. And if you want Pollack, then better go with the big one. And let's swap that out real quick, because we want shrimp here. There it is, the shrimp in size 13. I've got a size 4 hook on. I think that fits quite well too. Yeah, size-wise that works. I'm also changing one more thing. Meant to do it earlier. You could probably also go in with an orange pilk here, but I'm switching the attractant. I'm actually taking it off, and instead I'm putting an octopus in the mix. Oh, now I'm slightly over on weight. Okay, now it fits. Took off the small hook again. Now we've got the right weight. So better throw on the attractant again in orange. Maybe that'll trigger a bit more right there on the hook. And then drop it down nicely again. So like I said, that's how it's going. I'm fishing only with the Poseidon. Oops, another bite with the Poseidon Sensi here. Just the regular little Sensi. Coalfish nonstop, the classic demo effect. But hey, I'll take everything. Right now I'm going for quantity, so using the Poseidon Sensi 8192. Especially for beginners in sea fishing, these bonus values are super practical. Especially if you're not yet at 100%, those plus 5% are also super handy because they help you unlock the next rigs faster. Just level up a bit more quickly. It's worth it with a nice big reel on here. But you can also come here with an overlord or maybe a winger. That works perfectly fine too. Should all go smoothly. 60 kilogram line, 55 kilogram leader, and then off we go. At 30 meters, you'll get the hit again. That's how it's supposed to be. Usually, like I said, already on the drop. I haven't done much jigging, but if nothing happens at 30 to 35 meters, then just jig up a bit again, and you'll get hit after hit. And ideally, you get the coalfish and the Pollack. Now, maybe there's another weather change going on here, not sure. I'll keep testing for now. At the moment, it's looking pretty coalfish heavy again, but in terms of Pollack numbers, it's already looking okay. And the coalfish are clearly fewer, but still around. And especially if you drift slightly off course in the wrong direction, then they show up again. Now I'm checking if I should reposition a bit. Okay, repositioned again, cast it right back out, and now I'm here. Yeah, it's always kind of like this, right? It's usually this area just slightly above, and that area has often been really hot, even for herring or sometimes lumpfish and stuff like that. So there's always something crazy going on here. Yeah, now you can probably see it really well on the minimap too. Slightly above the 41. Let's see now. Boom. If we can't pull out a few more. And I'd say I'll go ahead and call the sub already, because in the end, there's not that much to explain here, right? The setup is clear. You go to the spot, bring the right bait and cast out and hope for a bunch of cash. That's the name of the game, and that's what makes it fun. We're almost at the hour mark. That's excellent. First fish here in almost an hour, then the boat's about to arrive. I'll pull in one more fish, and then we're done here. Oh look, one even bit just before the boat got here. Come on in. And we've got a Pollack, even at 25 meters depth. That's how it should be. And now let's quickly check the prices. Sort by price. And that's the reason why Pollack is so interesting. I think that's pretty obvious. Sure, sometimes a coalfish brings a nice amount too, but if you look at the price comparison here, the regular coalfish at 13 kilograms, almost 10 kilograms heavier, brings about the same cash. Totally wild stuff. So Pollack, if you've got a spot, test it, test it, test it. In terms of lure color, yellow and orange keep working well. So always keep testing the colors. 1 hour now made 700 silver. I'm totally satisfied. So let's sort by catch time real quick. And here we are, exactly 1 hour. So that's pretty great. And yeah, that's when it really gets fun. Next, I'll test out a new color. So now I'm gonna try something green, or maybe even something pink again, just to see if anything changes with the Pollack. But like I said, yellow and orange have been the colors that consistently work really well so far. And I mean, if you find a spot where it's really going off, then it's definitely worth staying there for a while and just sticking with it. I mean, sure, if the drift is right, if the lures are working, and if you get a feel for the timing, like when the bite is on and when it's not, then you can really do well here. And like I said, you don't need super heavy gear for this. You don't need a trophy reel or anything massive. Of course, it doesn't hurt, but this really works with medium-sized gear too. And that's exactly what makes it so attractive for players who might not be at the absolute top sea level yet. Especially when it comes to skills and all that. You can honestly say, give Pollack a try, test it out, see if you can find a good spot, drive around a bit, let yourself drift, and as soon as the bites come, stick with it. That's when it really gets fun. And I'm definitely going to keep at it for a while. Try out how the other colors are doing. Maybe something really good will bite again. Tight lines,